So I'm back from Pembury, back to work. So I just thought I'd go through what we've got going on at the moment. I've just finished today all these Jaguar V12 injectors. There was 48 of them in total to do, so I've just bagged all them up for the customer. There's 2 sets of injectors there for a local company. There's a few engines that I've got to get finished this week, so I'm just working my way through sorting them out. There's the Focus RS, I need that finished this week. There's a Vauxhall hot rod engine, TR6, a Toyota Land Cruiser that I want to get buttoned together, and a couple of other bits and bobs. Machining wise, what I'm doing today is this old side valve cylinder head. So I'm swapping the machine over to lift the bed of the machine up. It's got a water leak from around here, so I've taken out, there's a bolt in there normally, I've just taken that out, so I'm going to face that. There's that's the Vauxhall, which I need all that machined by tomorrow really, and deburred and everything, and all the rust taken off it. That's got to be stripped and go in the acid. There's this tractor, John Deere tractor cylinder head, I've got to check all that out. There's this one off, I think this is a Kubota or something like that, and then there's another one there. So there's lots happening. I'll film as much as I can. So this job's come in, which is an old classic side valve cylinder head, and the customer's complained that he's got a water leak around here and he can't seem to get his head around it. This part was fitted, so this nut comes through here, so I've taken that out, and what I can see is I've set the cylinder head up on the parallels and bolted it down, and I've got it where it's skimming on both ends, so I know that it's nice and flat. But what's interesting is if this can pick it up, it's skimming there, it's skimming there and there, and all this part here is missed. So it looks like my customer was exactly right, that he has got a problem here with how low it is. So this should be a fix for him. I'll show you what it looks like once it's finished. So this is the classic side valve cylinder head, all skimmed now. I had to take 10 thou off it, which is more than what I thought, and most of it was around here. So I'm hoping the customer has diagnosed it right, and that was his water leak. I'm gonna just deburr it for him now, stick it in the cleaner to get rid of the cast iron dust off it, and hopefully that's a good job done. I'll leave him that to stick back on so he can glue that on. But yeah, that's one done, all good. So today's a new technology day. I keep breaking my phones. I've had this Samsung flip phone for a while, and well, it's broken, the screen's broken there, and the buttons that below don't work, and it seems to do things like that. So a bit frustrating, but I recently had a Cat work phone which I thought was really good, which is where I'll show you. Indestructible. I mean, I was dropping it. I got to the stage where I was that impressed with it, I was showing off and throwing it against the wall, but eventually that died. It didn't break, it just, the aerials come dislodged. So I thought I'm going to buy myself a new heavy duty rugged phone. So after a lot of research, I decided to go for something called a Ulefone Power Armor 13 with the accessory pack and a bore scope. So I popped home to fetch it because Tracy told me that it had turned up. I was all excited and I thought, oh, feels quite heavy. And that is the beast. It's massive. I mean, it's definitely one that won't be going in my pocket, but build quality, it just looks awesome. Quad camera, loudspeaker. It seems to have all the right technology on it. Apparently it lasts the battery lasts for 5 days. It's even got a distance finder. So yeah, I'm going to put it on charge for a couple of hours or however long it needs, and then I'll power it up and I'll record that. But your phone, if you do get to watch this vlog, I'm mighty impressed with the build quality. So this morning, one of the jobs that I've got in is to pressure test this oil cooler out of a commercial vehicle. So I've put it on my pressure tester. We've got 15 psi of pressure running through it, and then it is split just there, if you can see it. So that is scrap. But that's another job done with a good result. Well, bad result for the customer, good result for us finding it. Sam at the weekend has got the pickup out of the coach and started to do some prep work for that for Brands Hatch. I thought I'd show you that in my new unit, because the car's in the unit, that we now have mezzanine floor, handrail, staircase, so that's all done. There's the pickup truck, which is stripped and been jet washed, ready for Brands, ready to do the work on. Sam's got the gearbox out of it down there, so I'll show you that. But yeah, chuffed with the mez so far. Got a nice wide staircase. So the gearbox is out of the pickup at the moment because we had a slipping clutch, but it wasn't, the clutch was slipping, but it was because the release bearing had fallen apart and gone sideways, so it's putting a bit of pressure on the clutch, which is a bit of a nightmare, but it's one of them things that's racing. So I've ordered a new clutch. I'm going to replace the clutch anyway and then keep that one as a spare in the truck in case we're ever caught short. The other thing, I had quite bad brake judder and my car was really quite strong on the brakes, so I wanted to check the brakes, and measuring them, they had 15 and 25 thou of run out, so I've skimmed one of them, which is there, and I'm going to skim the other one today. I've got this car in at the minute, which is an E-type Jag with a later Jag supercharged engine fitted to it. They can't get it to run at the moment, so I've got to have a look at that. The exhaust is off the pickup, but that's mainly just to get the gearbox out. So that's what the pickup looks like with no gearbox in. The tunnel unclips, which that's quite nice and easy to get out. And then there's the back of the engine. Car's a bit wet still at the moment where we had it out to jet wash it. We've also noticed that we've got an issue with one of the shockers. If I grab this stub here, look, I can't lift it because of the spring weight, and because it's got some clicks on the shocks. But this one here, the clicks on the shocks are pulled all the way up, but I've got a bit of play there, and it's the same on the shocker that side, so I'm going to have to replace those for the next meeting as well. The other thing that's happened is we've ripped out all some of the old electric box and stuff, and then had a new small breaker box fitted. And the other good thing about that is we've had 3 LED light strips just put into the middle up there, so now we can just do some work while we're waiting for the builders to come and build the rooms upstairs. So the Pembrey video, we've also put the first race of Pembrey up. I wanted to put race 2 and race 3 up, but I didn't notice that the SD card on the cameras that we run inside the car had filled up. So we only managed to get race 1. I've put that up, so you can view that. I think there's 15 laps. Race 3 was the best race for us, but like I say, it didn't record. And the other thing that we're going to do is I normally run this camera bracket here is my camera. This is the camera that we have to run for the pickup truck racing. They supply an SD card at the beginning of the meeting, and we have to record all the race, so they've got footage in case of accidents and stuff like that. So but what we're going to do is we're going to move this camera bracket, and we're going to try and get it on here somewhere, so we can try and get this side of the truck as well when we're racing, because all that's really picking up is like in front of, it's picking me up and it's picking in front, and it's not really catching the right hand side. So that's another slight modification we've got to do. This is the dry sump tank. We've recently done an oil and filter on it, so that's now got good oil in it. So it's done one meeting. But this dry sump tank is what provides the oil to the engine. It's got a heavy duty race battery there. That's the fuel cell. That's the fuel pressure regulator. This has got my new back axle, which Bernie at Competition Transmission Services has just done for me. So the rest of it really this week is, for this next vlog, is going to be work. So we'll go over to the old unit and see what we can achieve this week. I'll take my good clothes off and put work clothes on and crack on. I'll see you guys later. So one of the first jobs I'm doing today is a 12 valve tractor cylinder head. What's strange about this, or not strange but different, is the inlet valves have got a 30-degree angle. I don't know if the camera will pick it up, but I have just touched the valve just to make sure that it's okay. But all of these exhaust valve, the seat has started to pull through, so it's started to kind of dish like that. The actual job has come in. It's been to a different engine reconditioners who skimmed it, and they've had problems with the with valve vacuum or valve sealing. So apparently it was done before, but they obviously haven't, because this is a long running thing. That's probably caused that. So I'm going to face the 8 inlet valves, and then there's 4 exhaust valves, but the exhaust valves are at a 45-degree angle. So it's always important to check the angles, because you could quite easily try and just think the valve was worn and try and grind the wrong angle on it. But what is a good check when you've got 2 valves is to just put one angle against the other, and if it's at 90, I mean, I could feel it there, that's that. So if it was there, then it's 245 degrees. But when it's like that, you know that you've got a 30 and a 45, so that's just a quick check. So for this job I'm using my Comec valve facer again. So I switched the machine on. I've made sure down here that it's set to 30 degrees. I'll wait for the coolant to start coming through. As soon as I bring this lever forward, it starts turning the valve on the stem. This is a centerless grinder, so it has 2 wheels or 3 wheels that turn the stem. And then I'm looking for the wear mark just to disappear on the valve, which is there. And then a quick pullback releases the jaws. And then I'll just give it a quick check my eye. So this is the last 30-degree one to do. Nice and steady until you hear it grind. And that's it. So that's all the valves faced. Next job is to cut the seats. So I've got the cylinder head on the seat cutter. So I'm just going to set that up now. I'll clean some of the swarf off the top of the cylinder head and the oil, so the magnet can sit straight onto the cylinder head. And I'll cut them seats and then check the valve heights, make sure that they're all the same. So the first valve that I'm doing on this is one of the exhaust valves. So this is a 45 degree. I put a straight 45 degree cut in there. The machine's all set, it's all centralised and everything. One thing I do need to do today is fix my switch. I keep using my other seat cutter, so I forget about it, and then need to use this. So I'm going to fix that after I've done this cylinder head. So the Vera drive is making the head of the machine spin, the cutting head, and then I'll just wind it down, and straight away it's cutting off this side here and it's not touching this back side. So this is obviously where his valve seal problem was. That's that one done. So the first thing we do is release the locking lever there, and then release the magnet. I blow the swarf off the machine, re-centralise the cutting head each time. Switch the magnet on, centralise the head, and then on to the next one. So I'm going to do this 3 more times, and then I'm going to change the setting over on the machine. I'm going to put a 30-degree cutter in, which is one of these, to do the inlet. So I'll do these, and then I'll record the start of the inlets being done too. So that's all the exhaust valves cut to the right angle. I've set them all to the same depth, so now I'm on the inlet. So I've changed the cutter over to a 30-degree cutter. I've set that. I've just cut this one seat here just to make sure it's all set up fine. The magnet's now switched on. I've self-centered it, so I'll move the locking bar over and then start to cut this seat. And that's another one that's cutting on one side before it cuts the angle square with the guide. So all this just explains why the customer had a valve seal problem. So I've self-centered the machine, put the cutter in nice and steady, switch the magnet on, start the centering process on the machine, wait for the LEDs on the machine to tell me that it's centered, which is now. Then lock the front lever, that stops any of this moving. And that seat's okay. This is the Vauxhall XE engine that I'm building for a national hot rod. I've already bored it to size, but I've got to hone it. This block had severe rust problems, so I'm going to take the core plugs out now, de-rust it as best as I can before I carry on with honing and the rest of the machining procedures. It's in quite a bad way really, so I'll time lapse that being done. So today I'm starting to put back together the Rover V8 Rally engine for the TR7 for Alistair, who's a friend of mine and customer. The block's all been cleaned and prepped and ready. I've checked the ball sizes. I've given them a ball hone just to deglaze them, because I'm going to put a new set of rings in there The bearings are all in now, so they're all cleaned. So next thing I'm going to do is put build lube on the bearings. I'm going to measure the crank and record the data for the crank. So a friend of mine, Zach, who's got a print shop, has done me all these engine build sheets, so I can keep a log of all the specs and data for every engine that leaves here. So they're quite useful. We do sell them as well in a pack, so anybody that's wanting them, just get in touch and we can send some through. So this is the crank, which has been balanced. I've polished it, so I'm just going to finally clean it now. So I'm just going to finish cleaning that and blowing it out, and then I can drop that into the block and torque it up. The other thing I've done to this block is cross drilled it. I'll show you that. That's just because they're what's called an interference cap, so the cap is tight in the block, and then from factory it has these bosses on it, which we can drill them and then tap the block or tap the cap to give the caps some more rigidity. So I've got the Cleveite bearing guard on the bearings, so with clean hands I've just been and washed them. I'll just make sure that the whole bearing's covered in the bearing guard. The other thing I do is make sure, while the crank's not in, that the cam bearings, the bearings have got the bearing guard on it as well. It's just the fact that it's quite difficult to get in there with the crank in there. Well, it's near on impossible. The centre bearing's got the thrust on it, so it's important to just put a bit of the bearing guard on the thrust as well. And then what I've already done is, with normal engine oil, is loaded up some of the galleries, the oil galleries. So when it does get fired up for the first time, some of the engine is primed with oil. So that's that, all ready to fit the crank now, and the camshaft can go in also, so I'll go and grab those bits. Nice and gently. So that's the crank in situ now. So the next job is to go and get the caps, which are in the cleaner, put the bearings on them, give them clean, give them a blow off, rear oil seal, caps, and torque it down. So I've had a day off today. I'm with Sam. He's just ran into a snap-on call, so I'm in the snap-on van today, passenger. He's just walking out of a call. What's going on, Sam? So this is Sam's snap-on van. It's a Mercedes Ertiga 1022. We got that for him just over a year ago. Ooh. Look at that for a toolbox. We've just got to our second call.
No way!
Carbon covers, the clear one.
Oh, mate!
I ain't seen him, I'll have a look. It's Big Shag.
Hello.
Adam, I've got to go now. This is Adam. He's one of my best friends. Goodbye, Adam. See you in another 1 year. Adam's a genius tool salesman who now fixes cars again. Goodbye, Adam. So I've got a set of injectors to do today. I've just done one set for Matt's BMW, and then I've just had some E30 injectors turn up. So I've got to recondition them. So the first thing I'm going to do is just ultrasonic the outside debris off them, and then start to recon them. So I'll film all that. I've also had dropped off freshly powder coated TR6 rocker cover and sump. I've had the sump done in just a satin finish, and I've had the rocker cover done in a crackle finish, and I'm really happy with that. It was like an horrible dirty gloss before, and the Triumph tune and these bars was like polished aluminium, but it wasn't very nice at all, and I think this just gives it a real nice classy look. So just want to shout out Craig at AC Shop Blasting and Powder Coating for top work as usual on that. So the next thing I'll do is just put the injectors into the ultrasonic. So this ultrasonic bath is one that I just use for little engine components and injectors when they come in, just to save my proper injector tester. I just knock the initial debris off them with this. So I'll give them half an hour in that and then test them. So the injectors have had a fair while in the ultrasonic to clean the debris off them. The ultrasonic fluid in that was quite clean when I put them in, and it's cleaned all the dirt off them really. It's got all the paint off them as well, which is nice. So I'll get these out, I'll empty the cleaner, and then I'll show you the next process. So the injectors have come out the first ultrasonic cleaner, which has taken all the paint and all the old debris off the injector and the body of the injector, all around the nozzle, the O-rings and everything. So the first thing that I always do is run them up first just to see what the spray pattern's like and what the delivery's like. So to do that, the first thing is to fit these adapters so they fit into the machine. And then they just clip into the rail at the top, which I'm not sure, I'll have to just move that a little bit, which is up there. So I'll just put them in. Once again, I'd just like to thank everyone that subscribed to my channel and all the viewers. If you're watching and you haven't subscribed, if you could really do me the big favour of subscribing to the channel. I'm trying to get up to 1,000 subscribers. Well, 500 is my first goal, but then 1,000. So if you are watching it and you haven't subscribed, if you could, that'd be awesome. If you have subscribed, then thank you for taking the time out to do that and watch the videos. And if you haven't, you could share my channel for me, that would also be great. So that's the injectors in the in the rail, and then just make sure that all the injectors are sat down and locked in. The reason that being is sometimes if they're not pushed all the way in, once it's got pressure in there, it can pop the injector out of the top of the rail, and then it just sprays test fluid everywhere. Next thing I do is just make sure the measuring tubes are all empty, and then just carefully put all the wiring harness on. This basically feeds or fires the injectors at different rates, as it would on a car's ECU. And then the next thing to connect is the delivery pipe. Make sure that's locked on. Then the first test that I'm going to do is a leak test. So what the leak test does is it runs the pump at whatever I've set the pressure to here. I don't know if that's picking that up. This gauge here, so I can set the pressure here. So it runs the pressure to the injector, but it doesn't allow the injector to fire. And what that does is it just tests the needle at on the end of the injector to make sure it's sat firm against its seat and there's no leaks. So the first thing I'll do actually is just to prime it, just to make sure. So what this does is, now this is the pump running at 3.5 bar, and you can run it up to how many seconds you want, but I run them for about 20 seconds just to make sure I can't see any dribbles on all 8 injectors. So there's 20 seconds. The next thing I do is an impedance test. And this basically tests how strong the solenoid is. And they're all pretty close, so that's fine. And then I move on to the next test, which is the basic test for testing the delivery. So we'll fit those into the test tubes. This runs for 30 seconds. And then the other thing I'll do is, because I'm posting these back to my customer, I'll just fill in a test sheet of any improvements that we've made and the data. But I mean, I don't know if, is that picking up the test tubes? But straight away you can see that the delivery is really quite good on that. They're all pretty much the same. It's a little bit of fluctuation down here, but I think that would be well within range. But we'll see if we can improve on it. So the pressure setting for these injectors was 3 bar. I'll fill in all my customer details and everything later. Leak test, well, they didn't leak, so no on all of them. So they're all actually really good. What I'll do now though is I'll run the injectors at different RPMs and duty cycles just to see if the injector's got a certain spot that it doesn't like. 600 RPM. See if we can get closer. It's 2,500 RPM. RPM. Even the spray pattern is really quite nice on these injectors. And what I can do is here is add pressure to it. I can take pressure out. So what's good about that is if I take pressure out, you can really see what the spray pattern's like with not a lot of pressure, and then you can see what it will do by adding pressure. That there's just over 4 bar. So what I'll do now is I'll take the filters out of the injectors, because I'm going to put new filters in for my customer. So I'll disconnect the wiring harness. Disconnect the feed pipe. And then take off all the fuel rail adapters for the machine. And then there's a special little tool which allows the filters, because all injectors have a tiny little filter in there in the end, which that in there is a little serviceable item. So with this machine it comes with a special tool for popping them out, which I'll go and grab that. So what we do with this is screw that into the end of the injector like so, and then just a quick pop like that. That's the filter just there. I mean, in all fairness, they look quite clean, but we'll replace it anyway because you never know, you can't really see in there. Get the ultrasonic ready, so as I pop the filters out I can put them straight into the ultrasonic. On the machine there's a couple of different settings for the ultrasonic. So we go up to clean. I always have it on automatic, and I always run it 2 or 3 times as well, just so I know that I'm getting a really good clean to it. So they're coming out quite good now, they're not breaking up. In fact, I think the reason, that's interesting, I think the reason they broke up before, if you can see, 2 completely different styles of filter, which is interesting because this is an original set, so somebody's had a go at these before. The two so far, the 2 which are different are the ones that's fallen apart as I've come to take the filter out, and the old original metal gauze style filters are, are popping out fine. So on the paperwork that I fill in, there's a test, so there is a comment section, so I'll put that in the comments just so the customer can see that. I will however send all these old filters back so we can see that they've also been replaced. So that's all. The injectors are in the holder for the ultrasonic. I'll move this so we can see what we're doing. Well, so the next thing to do is to reconnect the wiring harness. I will switch the ultrasonic on first, and then I can hear the injectors fire one by one as I connect them. And that's it. So these are 10-minute cycles, so I'm going to run these for 3 cycles to make sure that they clean well, and then I'll show you the end result. The injectors are now out, the ultrasonic, so they've had half an hour of cleaning. Before I retest them, I'm going to fit new filters, which are these little babies. So they just push back into the end of the injector, so they pre-filter the fuel before it runs to the needle and seat of the injector. So these can be a bit tricky to pop in, but basically you just put them against something quite nice and hard and then just push them in. Then a test adapter on it, back in the top. Get the fuel out to it. 3 more to do. Anybody wanting any injectors done, just drop me a comment. Like I said earlier, an injector is actually a serviceable item, so like you'd change your air filter and your fuel filter in a car, the filter inside an injector should be replaced as well, because it's so fine. It doesn't need a lot in these little gauze filters to block them. So yeah, like I say, anybody needing a flow test or a quick service on the injectors, just drop me a line, send them to me. I'll get them turned round. I try and do them same day or a couple of days. Cost of which is dependent on what style of injector it is that we're testing. that's it. So next thing to do is to connect the wiring harness back to it, like that. Then send it back on to test. Just quickly prime the air out of them. I mean, straight away I can actually see that the spray pattern has improved quite a lot. It's definitely got a nicer fan to it now on all 8 of them. I don't think there was a lot wrong with them in the first place because they was all spraying quite even, but it is definitely quite a nice pattern now. So last thing we'll do is just another delivery test just to see if we've improved the delivery, because before on the list 77 was the lowest, 80 was the highest at 3 bar. So well, I haven't changed the pressure setting, so we'll see if the delivery's better now. Yeah, I mean, if I get the camera in close to this, you can see straight away that the delivery is a lot better. In fact, before the highest number we reached was 80, now the highest is 83, 83, 81, 82, 81, 83, 82 and 83. So it's improved all the injectors and actually brought them a little bit closer. Oh, where's my pen got? Oh, there. It's brought them a little bit closer as well, so that's a good test. Okay, so now all I've got to do is disconnect them from the machine and then parcel them back up to send back to my customer, so he's got them for Monday morning. I always send the original copy of the test sheet in as well, so the customer's got it. So that's it, all done. Aaron, they'll be on the way back to you early next week. But that's all the injectors reconditioned, cleaned, new filters, flow tested, slight improvement on them, which is what it's definitely all about. So to end this vlog, I just want to say once again, thanks to everyone for watching. I hope you've enjoyed it. Please subscribe if you haven't. If you have, thanks. If you could share the videos, that would be awesome. I don't know if there's going to be another vlog up before the last race at Brands. There probably is. There'll definitely be a build up to it. There is more work being done. The Focus engine's nearly finished. Alistair's V8's going back together. The TR6 is nearly done, so I will do another vlog actually. I'll film them. But yeah, thanks for watching guys. I hope you've enjoyed it.